Hi, this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today is the day I've been trying to get everyone excited for several months now. As you may be able to guess, today we're going to start a new travel album, Ireland. And I thought that since I started a new beginner class on my channel, if you haven't checked it out, be sure you do. I'm trying to keep those videos really short so that they're very focused and instrumental on teaching specific principles about this craft. This series on Ireland is really going to be more like my series on Hawaii or Disneyland that we've been doing. But with the small exception of, the fact that I am going to start from pretty much where you start this project from, so that you have an idea of the organization that is involved in trying to put together a project like this. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, and that's what this video mainly talks about, is how to get organized, how I get organized to do a project like this. Okay, so I'm going to switch you over to my other camera and show you a few things, but before I do that, I just want to point out these boxes that you see back here, right here behind me. The one on top, those photos have been sorted. The box on the bottom, those photos have not been sorted. So I still need to get those arranged and sorted. And I'm going to tell you how I do all of that and what I do with them to get ready for this project, and how I even get to this point of having the printed photos behind me, because these two boxes represent over 2,000 photos. But I can tell you right now, not every one of those 2,000 photos is going to be in the album. So I'm going to talk about why that is here in just a little bit. So let's check out my workspace and we'll talk about a few other things, okay? Okay, so what you see on your screen right there is what I see when I am saving my photographs. What I do is you see those top several files, Forever Photos, Heidi's phone, Michael's pictures. Those are all downloads from other people who have taken photos for this project. And I download their photos that they're willing to share with me. I put them in their own file so that I can keep them separate. And then I go through and I divide them up according to each day of the trip. And so you can see that highlighted line there says September 14th, Thursday, arriving in Dublin. I separate them into files that I've created for each day of the trip. So you can see how there's a Wednesday the 13th, leaving Salt Lake City, the 14th, Thursday, arriving in Dublin, and etc. And I add the date, I add the day of the week, I add the area we were in, and then I try to add as many of the stops that we made on that day as I can to remind me that that is the file that I need to put those photos into. And then that helps me when it comes to identifying where a file needs to go or where a photo needs to go, because it just makes it so much easier when I'm gathering, because so far I've gathered 8 of the 9 of our group's photos and separated them out into all these files so I could print them. The next thing that I'm going to do is take a look at each file individually, and I'm going to try to, for the best that I can, try to decide which pictures I want to print. This is harder than you might think, and can be a little tedious, to be honest, because it's hard to, even if I click on each photo individually, it's hard to compare on a computer screen and know which photo you like the best. So honestly, that's part of the reason why I said, yes, I have printed over 2,000 photos, but not all of those photos are going to make it into the album because many of them are duplicates or the same picture taken from a just slightly different vantage point, and I still have to decide which ones are my favorites, which is going to be super hard. When I am done choosing from a particular file, I put them into, you can see that file at the very bottom says Spillman Pictures to Print, and that's so that I know exactly which pictures I want to print. I don't have to delete them out of my file. I can keep them as long as I want, but I don't want to have to go back and choose them, especially when we're talking about 2,000 pictures or more. You want to make it easy on yourself, right? So I put them into one file, and in that file of Spillman Pictures to Print, they are still listed under their particular day that they apply to. That way I can choose which days I want to print first, and have some control that way over which prints I'm getting back at which time. Also, don't forget that you need to make sure that you order some enlargements. I like to order some enlargements in just 5x7 size photos of the photos that I feel like are turned out best or show off a family member. Or you could get a collage of photos and then they'll print smaller and you can cut them apart and use them on your pages. That's also another great idea. And before I forget to mention it, I just thought I would put my little plug in for if you are not currently subscribing to my channel, would you mind liking and subscribing? I would love that, and if you could share it with your paper crafting friends, that would also make me so happy. And if you're interested in any Creative Memory supplies, just go ahead and take a look at the description written up for this video, and there will be a link there that will link you to my website, and you can see all the current Creative Memory supplies and go ahead and get all the things that you need for your next project. All right, so now, speaking of supplies, we are going to talk a little bit about all the things that I currently have for this project. Let's check those out. All right, so after you have gone ahead and ordered your photos, while you're waiting for your photos to arrive, gather your materials. You're going to want to make sure that you have a photo album cover that you like. And if you recognize this one, it's because this is from the Creative Memories National Scrapbook Day from 2021, I believe. Let me double check. Yep, 2021. And we had decided that we were going to be taking this trip to Ireland in 2020 when my father passed away. And my mom has always dreamed of going to Ireland. And so she decided that she wanted all of us to go with her. And she declared to all of us that we were all coming with her, and she planned to pay for our travel expenses and our lodging expenses and most of the tours that we went on, using some of the money that she got from my dad's life insurance, which was a huge, huge, huge gift from her that I'm sure we haven't thanked her enough for. But that's where the planning started. Was she decided she wanted to go on this trip. She wanted us to go with her, and so we started in 2021 planning. But of course, that was just as COVID was trying to decide what in the world it was going to do, whether it was going to hold us captive forever, right? And because there were so many things that we didn't know, our trip got delayed. Our trip got delayed until this past September of 2023. We were able to go on this wonderful adventure with my mom. And so knowing we were going to Ireland, that was not a question. We were definitely going. I went ahead and bought and kept this album specifically for this trip. And actually, knowing how many photos we have, I have more than one of these, as you can imagine. Even our 8 days in Hawaii, just the two of us taking pictures, we filled 2 albums. And there were 9 of us on this trip. So you can imagine how many photos I have. Well, we just talked about it just a second ago, how many photos I have. So anyway, I just thought I would share with you that you can never be prepare too far in it ahead of time, right? So that's going to be the album cover. You will recall, since that came from National Scrapbook Day, these were part of the National Scrapbook Day kit for that year. And so these were the 2 main layouts that came from our home office, with this gorgeous paper with the shamrocks and clovers all over it. And yes, they helped us understand that it could be used for many, many things related to spring, and it didn't have to be, related to Ireland or leprechauns or anything like that. But because we knew we were going to Ireland, of course I saved it for that purpose, right? And I have a few extras. And I have a few of the laser paper packs that I saved. And I have a few of, this one's from Croptoberfest, but I thought it would probably work with the sunflowers in it. I have some of the cardstock, which I have plenty more of if you've seen my wall behind me. And I have the Shamrock recipe template, which will probably show up in this album at least once somewhere along the line, maybe even more than that. And I have, this is a partially used kit, probably to make those 2 layouts you just saw. And I have 3 more of the kits from those beautiful layouts that you just saw. And so this paper will probably not show up in the same type of layout, but will show up again throughout these albums and these layouts. And there's more, but I don't have it just yet because I'm in that gathering stage, right? I'm waiting for my boxes to arrive of other papers that I have found that will be super cute in this album. And when I get them, I will share them with you, so not to worry. But in the meantime, I have all of these photos. These photos have been sorted, like I said, and these represent days. Now let's see, this trip was 12 days. I always want to double check myself because it's hard to know, do we count the days when we left here because of the time difference? There's a significant difference in number. So we left here on September 13th and we returned here on the 24th. So that is, help me with the math, Emily. That's 11 days. But 2 of them were mostly traveling. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days in, we had 9 days in Ireland. All right, so this is 8 of the 9 people's photographs, kind of whittled down. This is 6 of the 9 days of photographs, and the other 3 are in the box behind me. So let's check that out. Thought it would be fun to do a bit of an unboxing. I don't usually do those on my channel with products and things like that, but I thought it would be kind of fun to check this out. Now, when you order your photos online, which is what I do, there are precious few places anymore that will print a quality photo that are in our neighborhoods anymore. When you order these online, they come mixed up, which can be a little disconcerting, a little daunting. But if you are patient with yourself and you just spend some time, maybe as you're watching your favorite movie that you've seen over and over again, so you don't have to watch every scene, you can just go through and make piles. And when I mean piles, I mean piles. So I'm going to sort through these, and then we'll come back and I'll show you just how many piles. All right, so this is me, and I'm sitting on the table just opposite of where I normally film for you guys. And this is after my daughter helped me, and we were both sorting photos for I don't know, probably at least an hour. And you can see I have piles on piles and on piles, but right here in the center, right in front of me, I don't have as many piles. And the reason is because I've begun crisscrossing them in front of me as I have come to the end of sorting. And then I've gone through and done like a little mini sort for each event, so that the photos make a little bit better sense to me, and they're in more of an order of how things occurred or kept together. And by putting them in a timeline order, like I like to keep them in, that satisfies my chronological brain. And they're not perfect. They're not in the perfect order that they'll go in my album in, but they are getting closer to that ultimate goal. And I will do that for each of those piles to get them generally in the right order. And then I will just stack them all up and kind of crisscross them so that they are not stacked flush against each other. These are 2 stacks of photos. This is the shorter stack. That helps you see how many there are. And they are pretty well sorted through to enable me to now kind of repackage them. And so what I'm going to do is go through and repurpose the paper envelopes that my photos came in, and put all the photos from one event, or a reasonable amount of photos from each event, in each envelope. And then I'm going to mark each envelope so that I know what it's from. So these are all from Dingle. So I'm going to grab my marker, or just any pen is fine. And I'm just going to write Dingle. And I'm having trouble remembering exactly which day that was, but I think it was day 7. Let me see. Dingle. Yeah, so this was September 19th, so it was day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, day 7. That was a good guess. So I just put a 7 and I circle it so that I know that that was day 7. And then that way, if my envelopes get mixed up, I know that I can put them back in reasonable order fairly quickly. Okay, so this is still day 7. So I'm just going to put a 7 on this. And then this one. This is day 8. I'm going to say 8A, so I know that that comes first. And then this is going to be, let me double check here. This is 8B. And we ended that evening at the Cliffs of Moher. So that is 8C. So by the time you're done with this process, you have quite a few, but they're in a reasonable order. I almost wrote on my picture. They're in a reasonable order so that then you can come back and grab the ones that you want at any given time. These I need to do a little research on, because what happens is when they come to you and they are all mixed up, sometimes, especially when you have scenery and stuff, sometimes you can't tell where one stops and the other, you can't tell which hill was where. Does that make sense? So I'm just going to do a little research into my photo file and determine where those pictures belong. And I'm going to do that before I start my pages so that I don't end up missing something important. Because when you are a chronological scrapbooker, it's important that you try not to miss stuff. I have in the past, so it's not unheard of, but it's kind of breaks your heart when you feel like you need to go back and disassemble something so that it's in the right order, and it's kind of bugs you every time you look at the book if it's not in the right order. So just some thoughts. All right, so we went to that was 7, that was 8. And this is that was 9. Getting a little bit out of order because I'm talking too much. Okay, so this is the perfumery, and we went there, and the chocolate factory.
On the same day.
On the same day, yeah. Okay, so this is what's throwing me off. These pictures go in the next one. So, all right, so this is 9B. And this will be day 10. Day 10 was really fun for my mom and for a lot of us, but mostly for my mom. She loves the movie The Quiet Man, and we got to go to the town where they filmed The Quiet Man, which was super fun. And so we got to see all of that good stuff. They don't have very much of the original anything for that anymore, because it was falling apart enough that they had to tear down the original cottage where Sean Thornton lived. But Pat Cohan's bar is still there, which is super cool and fun. We didn't get to go inside because we were there in the morning and it wasn't open, but anyway, just fun. I'll tell you more when we get that far. All right, so now we've got our photos reasonably organized, and I will add these to my box after I do the research on these. And then we will get started. Now the next couple of videos that I'm going to put out are going to showcase the we're going to do a title page. We're going to talk about some other ways to help you organize your trip so that you know when a new day has started and where you are on that day and things like that. And then we will start getting into the meat of making the pages. So just so that you're aware, that's what's coming. And I am so glad that you were able to join me. I hope that you are excited about doing a project, a similar project to this. When I create albums, even albums that are not based around a trip, I still organize this way. I sort all my photos into the different events that I'm putting into my album, and then I put them in the order that I want them to be in. It's a little bit like power layouting, only without the extra time taken to add all the papers that you're going to use and all the embellishments that you're going to use. I'm just organizing the pictures right now, and that saves me a lot of time when I go to assemble the album, because the pictures are already in the order that I want them to be in, more or less. So I'll pull out each of the groupings of photos for each of the events that we did and select which photos I want, and then be able to do my layouts a lot more quickly because I have all the photos I need. All right, thanks so much for joining me. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. I'm so looking forward to doing this Ireland book. I'm so excited. I hope you are too. Take care, and I'll see you next time.